Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Dramatic Currency. Am I the jerk for saying you should have thought about that before you procreated? My ex and I have a 13-year-old daughter, Nicole. Nicole has several medical conditions that require a lot of attention. She will need some sort of in-home assistance for the rest of her life. While we have an aide to help a couple of days a week, it is still a challenge. The outcome of Nicole's condition became clear when she was 2. At that point, my ex and I agreed we wouldn't have more kids because it wouldn't be fair to anyone. There'd be no way we could focus attention on 2 kids. Someone would lose out in this situation. We divorced when Nicole was 5. We originally had 50-50 custody. 3 years later, my ex remarried. His new wife, Callie, is nice. My ex did say that she didn't understand the severity of Nicole's condition. I figured there was a learning curve. Eventually, Callie basically said she wanted to be hands-off, which I respected, though I wondered how it'd work considering Nicole lives with them half the time. Last year, my ex and Callie had a baby. I was a little surprised, given my ex was always firm on not having more kids but figured it wasn't any of my business. He did begin to complain that it was a lot of work juggling Nicole and the baby. I sympathized but really didn't know what else to say. Recently, the venting got worse. He said Callie yelled at him for taking Nicole to her physical therapy appointment instead of helping her with the baby. He brought up potentially having Nicole stay with me more. I wasn't entirely shocked, but it pissed me off. I said Nicole was his daughter. He can't just abandon that responsibility. He asked what he was supposed to do about the baby. I said, maybe you should have thought of that before you procreated. I mean, really, we discussed this 10 years ago as to why it'd be hard to juggle 2 kids. Why did you think having another would be a good idea? He got quiet and said Callie wanted a baby. I said that isn't enough of a reason, and maybe he should have thought harder before bringing more life into this world. The conversation ended with me saying I'd call my lawyer and we could arrange for him to have less custody, as I'd rather my daughter be properly cared for than be viewed as a burden. Callie called me that night very upset that I had made my ex cry and that I said her baby shouldn't exist. I said that's not what I said completely, more that they didn't think it through. She called me a jerk. Am I the jerk? Our next post is by Conflict Active. Am I the jerk for coming to dinner basically topless? I've dreaded posting for a while because I'm afraid I might be the jerk, but I just gotta know. So here goes. My parents-in-law and brother-in-law came to visit and stay for a month with my husband, 27M, and I, 28F, after I had my baby. For context, if it makes any difference, I'm German. Husband and his family are Italian. The baby was 3 months old at the time and I breastfeed her. Usually I'd just nurse on the couch in the living room, but because company was staying, I'd go to my bedroom. After I nursed her, she'd fall asleep and take a nap and I'd have some free time. Since family was visiting, I tried to plan her naps around our mealtime to spend time with family uninterrupted. My mother-in-law has this thing that when food is on the table, you be there pronto. Sometimes I'd be late coming to a meal because babies can be unpredictable, and she wouldn't fall asleep right away or nursed longer than normal. To this, my mother-in-law would barge into my room and announce food was ready, all impatient. This startled the baby and made the process last much longer than it should have. The result is I had to eat much later than everyone else, alone, and the food was cold. It left me fuming. More work to do with the baby and I'm secluded. This happened several times. I asked my husband to talk to her and explain I can't always come on time. He talked to her, but she still did all this anyway. So I simply decided to stop being late to the dinners. The next time she barged in my room and announced food was ready, I came without hesitation. I came to the table exactly as I was. No shirt, half a bra, baby hanging on one tit. Nothing was seen as the baby's head covered up everything anyway, but still ensue uproar. Mother-in-law exclaims, "What the hell I'm doing at the table like this? I'm indecent. There are men at the table. I should be ashamed." I yell back, "What the hell does she keep calling me to the table for if I'm not yet ready? I have no reason to be in my room alone with my baby while everyone else is out having a great time together." Brother and father-in-law are trying not to get in on the argument. Husband ushers me back to my room and scolds me, taking his mother's side. He means he gets I'm frustrated, but this action didn't help anything. After that, mother-in-law didn't bother again while I was busy with the baby. So what if I came to some meals a little after everyone had started eating? The roof didn't cave in. Anyways, everyone lived happily ever after. The end. Am I the jerk? Our next post is by Tiny Pen. Am I the jerk for canceling our anniversary trip because my husband drowned my terrarium? I, 29F, traveled across the country to visit a company regarding an incredible job offer. I spent 2 days touring the company to decide if it would be the right fit for me after years of self-employment. After meeting with the company, I visited my sister, 32F, and her family a few towns over. We barely get to see each other because of work and distance, so it was wonderful to spend a few days with her, the family, and her new baby. I was gone for a total of 8 days. When I returned home, I was excited to spend time with my husband, 33M, and tell him about the trip, my visit with my sister, my impression of the city, etc. We were meant to be celebrating our anniversary, and decided to put off the discussion about whether or not I should accept the job offer until after our anniversary getaway. I'd arranged for us to go on a luxury train ride because he's a big train enthusiast, and we were meant to leave for the trip 3 days after I got home. This is when the problem started. I have a very large closed bioactive terrarium which I made with my mother 15 years ago. It's one of my favorite things I have of her from before she passed. This terrarium is my pride and joy and has come with me everywhere since we planted it. It was always super healthy and beautiful, and I've only ever had to open it 4 times to do a little maintenance and watering. My husband knows all of this, which is why I don't understand why he decided to tamper with it in my absence. I didn't notice the night I got home because I was exhausted, but the next morning, I went to check on the terrarium to find it in a terrible state. The roots were rotting and the plants dying and molding. He told me that the day I left, he poured a few cups of water into the vessel and sealed it again. I was so mad I cried, and it turned into a huge argument because it's just a plant and all you do is look at it anyway. He called me ungrateful and overdramatic, and that I should appreciate that his intention was to help me and that he didn't ask because he didn't want to bother me on my trip. I ended up canceling our anniversary plans, partly because I was so upset that I didn't want to go, and partly because I wanted to try and salvage the plants, and that would require time. He hit the roof when I told him, and is now sleeping in a separate room and refusing to speak to me because, according to him, I'm being petty and trying to destroy our marriage. Am I being oversensitive about my plants? My friends are pretty evenly split and have pointed out that he was just trying to be thoughtful, however misguided it was. Our next post is by Sweet Cherry Pies. Am I the jerk for not telling my boyfriend I won money 15 years ago? I don't know what I did wrong or if what I did is wrong, and I need some advice. I didn't want to post this on my real account because I'd like to be as anonymous as possible. My boyfriend 35M and I 35F were discussing finances as we wanted to be on the same page. My boyfriend moved in with me unexpectedly 3 months ago as his landlord decided to move into the property with his family. We were discussing finances and the topic of how I own my place came up. I explained I won some money, not a lot but enough to be able to put myself through nursing school, purchase my home and have some savings back in 2009, and bought my place outright and then rented it out until I moved back into it in late 2018. Obviously I had some luck on my side, as this was right in the middle of the recession, so I got my place for real cheap. He says I deceived him by giving him the impression that I was financially well off, and that I led him to believe I was more business savvy than I was. I don't know how I did that because I literally work as a nurse, make decent money, fully own my home, fully own my car, have decent retirement plans and decent savings. I am fairly certain that I am financially better off than most people I know. He says that he can't trust me anymore, and that he was stupid to have listened to my financial advice, but the thing is I never gave him any financial advice, except for telling him not to buy a car that was, in my opinion, unreliable and much too expensive. Did I deceive him by not telling him how I got myself financially stable? We have been dating for almost a year and a half. And I just had another, very weird conversation with him, and I honestly can't wrap my head around it. Yeah, so he is definitely a gold digger. He asked me how much I have in savings and seemed impressed with how much, and then said maybe he reacted too aggressively. Then told me that he still wants the car I advised him not to get. He hinted at me getting it for him as a birthday present since it's his birthday in early March. I am definitely dumping him. Going to wait till my 2 sisters and my 2 brother-in-laws can come over before I break up with him in case he reacts crazy. Edit 2. He's jealous and also resentful. He's ranting about how he would have tripled the money if he had won it. Edit 3, he's saying that my money is wasted on me because I don't make it make money. Apparently, I should have been investing my savings in high-yielding stocks and other stuff. FYI, I do get financial advice from a financial advisor I trust, but I am a risk-averse person, so I would never invest it in the manner this idiot is telling me. Sure, the chance to get a lot of money is there, but so is the chance to lose. Edit 4, he's now on a crazy rant because I suggested we take a break from this argument because I don't want to ruin my few days off. My God, I can't believe how he's behaving. He thinks he's so clever, but I am thoroughly disgusted. Oh, it is absolutely over between us. Edit 5, okay, so I understand him better now. So my house and the property it's on is what led him to believe I was much richer than I am. He assumed I was loaded, so me telling him I actually got lucky pissed him off. Then when he found out how much in savings and assets I have, he perked up and had a change of mind. He's now telling me that with just a quarter of my money he can show me how to invest on the stock market and make real money. Oh, he is genuinely deluded. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.